Good afternoon. I promised a friend of mine and an associate, Mr. Junior Mafonyane. I believe this young man, in our transitions that happen from one time to one time in the world, he is the leader of this transition. I mean, this energy transition. Transitions are very political oriented, they are also very economical oriented. And the transition that we are in, and as he would have loved me to share these lessons, is that this transition is a point of no return. We are going to the renewable energy. It's not an issue of South African politics. It's where we are going. And we need to be ready, because you will look at the geopolitics worldwide, you will know that it's where we are going. I'm saying that Junior Mafonyane is in Welcome, and he is willing to lead this transition and to communicate to all South Africans about this transition. He's doing that through his company, which is called Off Grid Pole. You can go to offgridpole.co.za. That's where you'll find his company. And anytime he comes and talk to you, please consider what I'm going to say here. When we started with the biomass fuel, which is the wood, that was our energy. And any place that was full of wood, people would fight for that place. The wars that were done for the places that was full of a forest, people would fight. In Europe, there were a lot of wars. So there were politics about that kind of an energy. But let me tell you this thing. That energy could only go so far until they noticed that, hey, we are finishing our forests and we need to go to another kind of energy. Because look, the energy goes with the number of people that are there. People are growing, the population is growing. And the next kind of energy that, everyone had to move into, and that was coal. Coal didn't come without any fights. It didn't come without any politics. There were coal mines, and there were railway lines. There were workers there. And all those people, they were making sure that that coal is delivered. Look, a place that had coal, there were politics in it. I'm saying this because many people that were appointed in the governments in those days, they were coming from those places, from the labor unions. And that was content. Even, let me tell you this, even the revolution that started, it was mainly pushed by that new energy, because there was now something called, a train which was fueled by the coal. So the wood was not going to be enough to fuel the train. It was not going to be enough, but also there were politics that were involved there. There were some economic situations, but it was a revolution, industrial revolution. We're in the fourth industrial revolution now, and we don't have things that need to be moved. The mobility is not coal. That is why when the time of the cars came in the early 1900s, we needed another fuel, and that fuel could only be found in the Ottoman Empire, which began from Turkey to Iraq at that time. And people were no longer looking at the places that were full of forests or places that were full of coal. They had to go to places that were deserts. But guess what? There was oil. And oil became, when you see at the coal and the wood, it was localized economy. But when you talk about oil now, it's a globalized. That's where globalization began. And from that day until today, there are still wars in Iraq because of the oil. And the shifting now of the oil, it was no longer about it was no longer about I've got to finish this video quick. When they were shifting to oil, it was not just about, that we need this energy. Yes, the cars had to be fueled through oil. There had to be, it was a change of another industrial revolution level. But at the same time, the politics were now global. And it was no longer unions that were in government this time, but businesses were in government. It changed both politics. Now, energies, that's what they do. Energies, they change, the way things move. And we went on from that fuel, which was the longest. And in 1971, there was a petrodollar, but it was the longest. Guess what? In this revolution that we're in now, you don't need a car that much to be what fuels you, but you need a computer. You can't put wood in a computer. You can't put coal in a computer. You can't put oil in a computer. Guess what? Even the mobility, it's no longer depending on the fuel that we know, the petroleum. It now needs a battery. That's a new dispensation. Now, we need to live with it. Forget about your politics of your country. It doesn't matter which country you are. It's a transition, people. Let's go through this transition, because transitions, they've got opportunities. And that's why Mr. Mafonyane Jr. in Welcome, with his very energetic team, they said, we will go above the politics and recognize the times we're living in. We know that you cannot fuel the computer with oil and coal. And we are aware that the cars that are going to come through now, they will come, looking for another energy, and that is the solar. I'm hoping to share in another video about the politics of solar. But for now, I want us to understand why we are here. Let us talk in the next video. Goodbye.